Morning everyone, and welcome to our Heavenly Parent Holy Community Oceania Hundoke with Reverend Yutaka Yamada on this day, Tuesday the 25th of May or the 14th day of April in the 9th year of Chongalpuk. So let's begin with a bow to our Heavenly Parent and true parents, Chariot, Kyombe, Haro. And let's recite our family pledge both in Korean and English. Thank you.
가족 멘세 7. 전일국 주인 우리 가정은 참 사랑을 중심하고 본연의 혈통과 연결된 위하는 생활을 통하여 심전 문화 세계를 완성할 것을 맹세하나이다.
Family pledge number 7. Our family, the owner of Chongalpuk, pledges through living for the sake of others to perfect the world based on the culture of heart, which is rooted in the original lineage by centering on true love. So I'd like to ask Mr. Arai if you could offer the opening prayer, please.
I offer prayer. Dear Heavenly Parent, and dear our true parent, thank you. We gather today again, dear brothers and sisters in Oceania, and we truly thank this special opportunity to gather and understand, touch with your heart, and also to parent. We always deeply appreciate your creation, all universe, all your blessing, and we receive all blessing, and we try to realize your idea. And also beautiful season, winter here, but other world is spring and also going summer. Once we saw beautiful garden of Chonjonggung with True Mother, and also a lot of picture, many thousands young blessed couple. We know each family's happiness give enormous joy to many people, and especially we reflect to parents, golden phoenix come down from heaven, riding from earth, holy marriage and marriage lamb realized on us. We could attend with help from our ancestor. And especially we could learn your providence, how Heavenly Parents prepare True Father and sending True Mother. True Mother course we especially learning and choose nation and people, ancestor. And incredible also foundation Christianity, reveal truth of heaven. And waiting returning Lord, and paid incredible song and prayer tears. Temonim and also True Mother inherited all. Historical mission, your providence to realize. True parent course, we now running in US, Danbury. It is incredible time. Mother having most difficult course, but standing incredible strong. Incredible for quite many prayer. We try thanks and we are grateful with brothers and sisters here together. Really vibe. Pentecost happen will be in Oceania, also in our family. Truly, we can be really unity with Heavenly Parent. Thank you again today, Reverend Itaka's incredible preparation and also insight of sharing. Thank you with everyone's prayer together. Our name, Allied family, who is Blessed Center family, Ajub.
Thank you. Let's now welcome Reverend Yutaka Yamada as he shares with us this morning. Thank you.
Good morning, our brothers and sisters. Thank you for joining this morning from the Queen. This morning gathering become the power and become the heart and spirit together with all our Oceania brothers and sisters to offer our heart to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. We will seek the guidance and we will seek the inspiration from heaven, from true Father and true Mother, and let's go forward to offer the victory to our Heavenly Parents and true parents. So we just finished last month our many kind of providential events centering on Korea and centering on True Mother, and now we are setting for Korea Foundation and environment again to go the next step. So our youth side is also preparing the overall regional second generation or third generation workshop, and also creating environment side. UPF, Women's Federation is also organizing the event and the providential matter, and Heavenly Torah Messiah, Chombo, also preparing how to invite and restore 43 couple and 430 couple, vertical and horizontal. And even OCLC, we are preparing how we can giving the influence to Christian pastor priest society, and also we have to prepare as the Oceania or ocean or island nation, and also 14 nations unite together, how we can really contribute and become happiness. So everything starting point is from our Chansong heart and also our spiritual foundation. So really I appreciate all of our brothers and sisters, your involvement. Chansong put our heart, and today also new day. Let's create the great day and great moment. So until yesterday we share about True Mother's speech after True Father entered to the Danbury imprisonment. So every other day, Mother went to Danbury prison to meet True Father, and also every day communicate by phone and to read the American and the World Providence around 1984 and 1985 for 13 months. So Mother share how True Father is spending time inside the prison. So looks like Father have a good friend and good environment, and he's spending well, but of course inside the prison, even there are good person, but also there are challenging or difficult person toward True Father. Just didn't share those difficulty to everyone in the beginning, but True Father accept and embrace and love and overcoming. So we could hear and we could see the story about Vietnam imprisonment that time. So True Mother led the all providence. So in the society, when people see the unification movement, people see this our movement. Unification movement is actually Father Moon's movement. I think nobody could think so much about True Mother. I'm not sure in the Danbury imprisonment time, maybe all of you, you are there at that time. How was your imagination about the movement? This is the Reverend Moon's movement or Reverend Moon and the Mother Moon's movement at that time. I think in the society or many people were thinking this is Father Moon's movement. Even mother stayed together always beside the father, but how much we could recognize about mother. But in the Danbury imprisonment, I think almost first time mother stood in the middle or center of the providence and lead the world unification movement. And what mother show us, mother could make a clear decision and lead the organizing all the providence conference, and we could see mother really continue unite with the father, unite with heavenly parents, and show to the society, nation, and the world. So today we will read also mother's autobiography to continue the next part. So last part we saw about the ICOS International Conference, and now we will see our next part. So let's continue our fundoke. The progress of our international conference did not end there. In the summer of 1985, the Professors World Peace Academy, PWPA, was scheduled to convene a global congress in Europe. Once again, I heard about the worries of the planners and participants, and I guided them as before. We will hold it as planned. So mother heard the worry of planner and participant. So what kind of worry did true mother hear that time? Many people say, Father is not there. Father is in prison. How we will continue or not? We can do or not? We can success or not? Those worriness is coming to mother's place. So mother said, I guided them as before. We will hold it as planned. So conference, ICOS conference also, the PWPA, many people is worrying that, but mother just said them, we will continue this old conference. So maybe we should imagine also whenever Mother heard those kind of message from members, leaders, peoples, how about mother's heart every time worry, really, mother, can you do that? Maybe this kind of feeling is coming from the people. Father is not there. Only to the mother, can you do that? Is that possible? Can we continue? Those worriness is coming to mother's place. So mother said, I'm hearing those worriness every time. But I decide I continue and carry on this program or project. Geneva, Switzerland was the conference venue. Dr. Morton Kaplan, a renowned political science at the University of Chicago, was the president of PWPA. He sought my husband's advice about the conference and met us at Danbury to receive it. Those days, my husband, even from prison, was acting on heaven's guidance to halt the advance of communism at Americans' doorstep in Nicaragua. So this story about Dr. Morton Kaplan is famous. We heard many times. He is the president of PWPA, and now they are preparing about the conference in Europe. He came to Danbury prison directly to receive the direction from through Father, because this conference that much serious and important conference in our movement. And also Mother mentioned Father explained about and giving the guidance about the advance of communist art in the Nicaragua. So in the world level, there are many development or advance of communism in the world level. So through Father always giving the guidance and direction also to the leader and the members. His inspiration sparked the American President Ronald Reagan to take action. As this was unfolding, my husband and I saw that communism global expansion camouflage a serious crisis within its own borders, and that its entire house of cards was soon to collapse. In 1970, Father Moon had prophesied that global communism would fall in the late 1980s, 70 years after its founding. So 1984, 1985, that time the communist was really advancing and developing. So that time there was also the election of America, presidential election, and the Ronald Reagan won in the election together, cooperation with Washington Times, and also guidance under True Father and the True Mother. So there is many kind of story behind of the President Ronald Reagan. So this is really one of the big changing and really big moment to support our providence toward communist nations and communication movement. So Father in 1970 and also 1980s, Father already proclaimed the end of communist or end of communism. So people were surprised and people really wondered, really is that happen or not? So that time, maybe you could feel how much communist movement was strong. Every day, every moment in each nation is almost a fighting. That's why victory of communist and Causa movement was the central movement in our movement that time. So how we can win over that communism. And so to the University of Chicago political scientist, my husband announced our theme for the conference, the fall of the Soviet Union. Dr. Kaplan, looking at the global reality externally, objected, sociologists don't discuss something that has not happened. But Father Moon spoke with calmness and strength. Communism will perish and Soviet Union will collapse. You need to proclaim this fact at the gathering of scholars and professors from around the world. So how is this? Father said to Dr. Kaplan, communism will perish and the Soviet Union will collapse. You need to proclaim this fact at the gathering of scholars and professors from around the world. So when they see the world situation, communist world, communist nation is not declining. Communist world is developing at that moment. Then what kind of proclamation Father mentioned to Dr. Kaplan? Soviet Union, almost the highest or biggest nation together with America, and developing almost 2/3 of nation is going to be the communist nation. But that time, Father asked him to proclaim, now communist nation will perish, Soviet Union will collapse. So how much this is the difficult sentence or heavy sentence for professor. Maybe you could see the environment in the society that time, how Soviet Union was strong. And who could imagine, who could feel some kind of moment of declining of communism? How was that? Have you felt that kind of moment of some starting point or declining moment in 1984, 1985. That much communist was strong, but father strongly told to Dr. Kaplan, you have to proclaim these things. Dr. Kaplan again hesitated and asked, how about if we say the possible fall? Father Moon replied, no, it's not just a possibility. Believe me and do as I say. As he departed with me from the meeting, I could see that Dr. Kaplan's head was spinning. He was a world-renowned scholar, and he could not speak what he considered empty words, much less convene a conference based upon them. So when true parents lead the providence, true parents is doing not based on the reality or not based on in the current circumstances. True parents is following the heaven's timetable and heaven's plan, and parents is leading and creating the providence. So even Father many times mentioned he is not thinking in the current time. He is thinking even after 1,000 years. So when we receive the guidance or when we receive the direction or suggestion or direction from true parents directly, sometimes and yet most of the time we could not understand. Father, is it possible? Is it better to do? Is it can do, fulfill or not? Those kind of challenging, those kind of providential direction is coming to us. So when they receive that, what kind of attitude we should have, and what kind of determination or decision we should make. So this is maybe all our leaders, blessed family, always we are thinking our current situation and providence and God's plan, heaven's plan, and also our situation. Always we are standing in the middle position. But how we can stand, unite 100% with our true parents. This decision, determination is really important. So how about the Dr. Kaplan? I think he is one of the wambas of peace or some close or committed person with true parents. I'm not sure he is blessed family or not, but he really respect true father, but he is famous person in the world level. When true father gave this direction, how was his struggling? Or how was his concern or worriness that time? Can I accept or not? If accept, and if I do this one according to father's direction, what's happened? My life, my name as the professor in this field, because he could not see, he could not feel. The Soviet Union will collapse. The communist world will be polished. And this is not only small conference, small gathering. Really have to proclaim in front of the all famous scholar and professor in the world level and international conference by his name, together with the parents. That's why mother said he himself his head was spinning and also really thinking he should go this way or not. So he really think and he could see. So how he could fulfill, he is that time the central figure together with our heavenly parents and true parents. So what kind of decision finally he made? So Dr. Kaplan, he said 3 times that he wanted to tone down the conference theme. I told Dr. Kaplan not to worry about anything and to follow my husband's advice. He still was looking for a way out. With winsome eyes, he came up with, wouldn't it be possible to use a word softer than fall. I didn't budge. My husband and I knew communism would collapse in the Soviet Union within a few years. So how was he? He also said again 3 times, Mother, Father, how can I do? Can I do more softer? Can I use another word? Can I do another way? Continuously also he is thinking and also convinced or dealing, compromising with true parents. But how about true parents' attitude, decision? Never change. No, you have to continue that. You have to proclaim that. And mother also encourage him. You should follow through father. You should follow and decide and determine. So how much those moments as a central figure, we could see in the history, there are many kinds of central figure in the Christian and early Christian, in North Korean side, South Korean side, and John the Baptist figure, many central figure. I think even each person's standing point is different, but internal struggling, internal challenging, internal overcoming, I think same feeling. Really, I can accepting this one, meaning is I have to give up something. Even I give up my concept, even I give up these things, but can I really follow our true parents or not? So those things always coming, but true parents' guidance is same, and this way is same. Now we knew already Soviet Union was collapsed and the world was changed, and how was really this impact was strong in that conference. So the parents already could see at that moment, but nobody could see. So those decision-making point, it's not simple things, but this conference was carried on. From August 13 to 17, 1985, the second Professor World Peace Academy International Congress took place in Geneva with its title, The Fall of the Soviet Empire, Prospect for Transition to a Post-Soviet World. Hundreds of university professors discussed the fall of communism from all angles. They heard Father Moon's prophecy that communism will collapse within a few years. So finally, this conference was begun. Soviet Union was standing as the really union of bigger nation, and communist world was developing and growing more stronger and stronger and stronger. And that time, what was titled The Fall of the Soviet Empire and Prospect for Transition to a Post-Soviet World. Not only talking about fall of Soviet Empire, even talking about post-Soviet world. So how much this title is challenging title to the society, challenging title even to the Soviet Union, even to the communist world. So really this conference itself has the strong meaning. Even where True is staying, True was inside the prison, but this kind of bigger conference was happened and carried continuously, and all professor, scholar accepted and discuss and having this conference. They picked up their ears, having never dreamed of such an idea. They were amazed that we had the conviction to go against conventional wisdom and political correctness. Their nerves were a bit on edge for another reason as well. They were aware that the Soviet embassy stood directly across the street from the conference venue. So external point, they have also worriness. You know, the Soviet Union, and they know about movement true parents leading against the communist, victory of communist. This true parents is so much famous. And of course, this kind of international conference, how they are aware our Soviet Union or all communist nation or communist people, even they try to kill true father many times. That much they are famous. And now organizing the second international conference, even in front of Soviet embassy. So how about our members and leaders' worriness and nervous? So we could see, but the parents never change when they stand strongly, with unchanging conviction and heart, absolute faith, love, and obedience to heaven. Then the central figure, true parents never change, but environment will be changed. Even they are confusing, worriness, but when they totally unite with central figure, our true parents, all environment will be changed and become strong, calm down, and also become more developed. We could see that. So some renowned sociologists and professors criticized our proclamation, even quite harshly. But as we had predicted, the Soviet Union was dissolved just 6 years later. Interestingly, when the Soviet Union actually dissolved, some of these same scholars explained it as if they had seen it coming, with very few not noting that it was Father and Mother Moon who had first predicted what would happen and even convened a conference with that as the specific title. My husband and I just continued on working for the sake of the future. So the parents receive many kind of criticize also from outside people or maybe inside some worriness, but finally that was happened. After 6 years, Soviet Union was dissolved and world order was changed. Who could imagine at that moment? But even any kind of moment, the parents continuously going forward. And finally, history will testify. History will show what is true, what is the real. Even at the moment, we could not see, we could not realize, we could not understand. But finally, in the future, history will testify and prove that our true parents and decision. So we are here standing together. We are not other side of true parents. We are not other side of movement. We are same side together with our heavenly parents, together with true parents to create new ideal nation, new ideal world. So we could actually standing the exciting place, exciting moment, and we believe that moment will be surely happen with True Mother now 2023, 2027. In the past, those things was happened, overcame, fulfill, and victory. That's why surely in this era will be happen, and in the future will be happen. As you, so our all brothers and sisters, really, those mothers sharing and true parents, a life course is showing us always we are worried. Of course, this our lacking point, and we could see many kind of reality, of course, but in the same time, there is a heaven's will, and heaven prepares us everything. Mother is determined together, and we are going forward together. So our brothers and sisters, put our chance on, because sometimes we are lacking, we are there no confidence. So put our chance on, prayer, offering. This become our strengthen, our spiritual foundation, connect to the physical foundation. So really we put totally unite, and our most strong point is really unity with our true mother. then all spiritual strengths will come to each of us. So we will put our heart, unite together, then really offer the victory. We could imagine our Australia will be restored, New Zealand will be restored, any people will now welcome and to unite together beyond the nationality, beyond the races, religion, and to show one family under our heavenly parents and true parents. So we dream that, believe that, and we will make it together. So once again, thank you for our brothers and sisters to join today's morning Hundoke. Today is also a beautiful day and beautiful morning. Let's create happiness, gratefulness, joyfulness, and let's have a great time. Thank you very much once again. 감사합니다.
Thank you very much, Reverend Yutaka, as always. You're really inspiring us with your insights and understanding of interpreting True Mother's words. So I was really grateful to listen. And I was always during that time disappointed by the professors when the Soviet Union did collapse, at how they said that they predicted it, some of them even not even recognizing father or mother at all, that they proclaimed it. And I was, years later when I was in Solomon Islands, I was very happy to see that information come out about how father was instrumental in the collapse of the Soviet Union in the Cold War. And there was this article that was circulated, and we put it in the Solomon Islands newspaper, a two-page spread of all the details of how our movement and how father behind the scenes was instrumental in bringing the end of the Cold War. And so, and the response by the Solomon Islands people when they read it, and the government, they were saying, oh, Father Moon is such a great man for doing that. And I felt that this vindicated father and helped to promote the truth that happened there. All right, I see Susie has her hand up. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning, brothers and sisters. Thank you for this reading, Reverend Yutaka. It always strikes a string in my heart because in 1984, 1985, we found ourselves on the streets of New York getting signatures for the VOC campaigns. We found ourselves taking the ministers, many of them, to the lectures given by Bill Lay, Tom Ward, and others. And many times the ministers were wondering why it was that we were talking to them about Khalsa and VOC and talking about these kind of ideological issues. Because really, we all wanted to build the kingdom of heaven on earth. And in fact, this was the mainstay, was the divine principle. But we placed in that victory over communism was the essence of the divine principle and the understanding of the need for strengthening the family. But we also needed to know where it was we were at that time. We need to understand how communism was working, and it was working in a military sense at that time, so it was very clear. But nevertheless, and we were sitting with Father at Belvedere many times when he talked about this, the prediction. And even members were just like, oh, I don't want to do this, feeling very uncomfortable. But nevertheless, Father pushed on and Mother pushed on. And it's interesting because after, obviously, we did win a victory at that time. But Father then, after that time, he asked us to go and do home church. Were you there, John, when he asked, he really pushed for that? And I think many of us did go out, and we were asked to do the 360 and to protect our future generations from anything more like this. We were asked to use that as our 360, as our microcosm, according to what Father had already done. That was to protect our future generations. But I don't know that all of us really could complete that. I know I couldn't. I did some. I feel in tears that I could have done more. And in fact, my understanding was from Korean leaders that came in the past to Sydney, they talked about the fact that we needed to do tribal messiahship here to make up for the fact that we couldn't do home church. And so now, if people are familiar with, I'm sorry to go on a bit, but I think this is really serious because we are facing a very crucial time at this time as well. So the body of Christ at that time was asked to come together to really stand up against communism. And the issue was that we did not fulfill home church. And so we left ourselves open to another attack. I'm not sure how familiar you are about Cleon Skousen's book at the time, which Father talked about it as well, The Naked Communist, and also the Long March Through the Institutions. Well, this is very dear to my heart because my parents were survivors of the Holocaust. We lost most of our members and family to the gas chambers. We saw the marks of Hitler and even Stalin as my parents progressed into communist Russia to escape from Nazism and the way that they were working. And they clearly embedded in me an understanding of the way that socialism and Marxism entered into Poland and Europe and into Russia. In fact, they really thought communism would be the saving grace, but once they entered into Russia, they realized it was the antithesis thereof. So moving now forward into, and also to understand that the Long March into the Institutions was in part carried out because Hitler would not allow the Marxists and the communists to take a hold there. So they made a plan to go to America and to actually create a downfall of America. And that was the Long March Through the Institutions, particularly the educational institutions of the higher learning, high school, and into the universities. Now, back in 2014, I think many of you know that our daughter went to study at Bridgeport International Academy. Now, the backdrop of that is we were in Melbourne and Hannah was attending some very good schools, spiritual schools, and ended up in a government school. And she was only 12 years old, 11 years old. And the school that she was in, we found out, because her demeanor changed, we found out actually that why she was so sad and depressed, and because there was cyberbullying going on and there were suicides going on in her school already. There was also, we didn't know at that time, but there was probably also issues of pornography and other things that were terribly undermining the hearts and minds of our kids. And so at that point, Steve and I made an anguishing decision to ask her if she would consider going to our school in Bridgeport to be separated from us so that she would be protected from this. And she decided that she would do this. And so we would go back then every year, or she would come, and to spend time with her to make sure all was well, and also to travel around and to, I love America and I love Australia, but America was my spiritual birthplace. And that's why every time I go to America, I literally kiss the ground. And that's not because America is the only place where God is, but I think that America was planted because it is the elder son nation. And from that, we need to learn very well what can happen. And we've recently seen the demise of America in many ways. That's why Dr. Young is there and doing a brilliant job in educating our brothers and sisters about the heart of God. And so we would go there every year and we would see the situation. We would travel and visit families there, and we would see very clearly what was happening. The parents were arguing with each other. There wasn't peace in the families. The parents would argue with the children, and it was so sad to see. And we understand why. We were the first families out of hell, so-called, and we didn't have the ability to deal with what was going on. And so we could see very clearly that the students were really struggling they were being faced with all sorts of Marxist ideologies in the universities to talk about all these horrible things of the breakdown of the family. Do you know why it's important to talk about communism? Have people seen the first movie, God Is Not Dead, Part 1? It's brilliant because one student is arguing with a professor and he comes to the conclusion with the professor that the professor isn't really arguing about God not existing. He's arguing because he's saying God is dead because I hate God. This is what we're dealing with. These wonderful people who follow communism and follow all these other things and break down in the school and wanting to break down religion, they're doing it because they hate God. And when I saw this again yesterday, this movie, I just lay down on the floor and I cried because I thought our brothers and sisters that we need to work and save, their problem is that they hate God. This is the ideology that we need to deal with, is we need to bring the love of God and God's broken heart to them. This is where we're at now in trying to wake up people here and go to the ministers, go to the Christian leaders and explain to them that our brothers and sisters, they need help. And if the body of Christ does not unite, we will see our country fall as well again. So I'm sorry this has been a long kind of a thing to share, but there are many, many levels. And in 2014, while we were visiting Hannah, we actually went, or actually Steve went, and bravo for him for doing it. He went and spoke to Tom Ward, and he said to him very clearly, Tom, we need to revitalize CALSA again because communism has morphed in a different sheep's clothing. It is attacking our children at the universities now. And his answer was, I'm sorry to say at that time, was that Ingenim has the model and we need to follow Ingenim. The time has passed for this. And then we could see that it hadn't finished. And in 2017-18, we met with Kevin Thompson and he agreed this was happening and that we do need to put something like this together. And the same, we spoke also to Tom Ward again at Hannah's graduation. And we were waiting for people to do something because we could see our children following down that path with all the different things, indoctrinations occurring at the universities. And so I'm sorry, I'll end here because I just feel very strongly that this is something we still have to fight. Yes, the underpinning is the spiritual side. Let us absolutely give the blessing.
Thank you, Susan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Randall, you have your hand up. Go ahead.
Thank you. Yeah, I was talking with some of the second gen in Brazil when I was working on the farm there, and they were saying, and this was back in 1996. So this is just like 5-10 years later, and they were like 20 years old. But of course, you know, when they were young teens, they weren't into the newspapers so much and things like this. And they were saying, well, why all the big fuss about communism? I mean, what was wrong with it? And teens today, or youth today, may not understand all the problems that were going on in the late 80s, you know, up until the late 80s with communism. And I was saying, okay, well, the biggest fear we have today is that a terrorist will blow up a building or a city block. The greatest fear we had when communism was around was MAD, mutually assured destruction. Because the superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, they had nuclear missiles pointed at each other. And they realized that if one missile was coming, then they had very little time to retaliate. And so they would send all of their missiles to all their targets around, you know, the free world. and or the Americans would react and send all their missiles to the communist world. And if it was a mistake, an accident, a hiccup, it doesn't matter. It would still be mutually assured destruction, and both sides would send all their missiles. This is the kind of fear that we had at that time with communism, and a lot of the second gen just didn't realize that, yeah, it was really worrisome. At the time of when Father was in prison, Ronald Reagan was the president of the United States, and Jimmy Carter was the president just before him. While Jimmy Carter was president, 10 countries became communist. He was a Christian that was naive about the workings of communism, and they just undermined different things while he was standing there, and he was flabbergasted that things were going on. And so when Reagan came in, and Father did a huge campaign to get him elected, then it turned things around. It stopped Grenada. It turned around Nicaragua. And I'd been in Latin America, in Mexico, when Nicaragua became communist, and there was a lot of refugees coming up to Mexico from El Salvador and places like this because of all the activities of communism, trying to push the border of Nicaragua up until Texas, basically, up until the United States. And so there was a lot of activity around the area, and so that's why Causa was a big issue at the time. But yeah, communism was the problem with communism, and the conflict between the two superpowers was a planet destroyer. The way that the nuclear missiles could destroy the Earth 7 times over, or something like this. So it was a big thing. To let second gen understand this is one of the factors. So just thought I'd give from the second gen point of view. They're not, us in our 50s, 60s, we understand that a bit more. But for example, I think Miwai is here. Hi. Just thought I'd share that. Thank you.
Thank you, Randall. Okay. We actually, unless there's someone really burning to say something that too very long, people give this time, and actually it is time to have unison prayer. But if there is someone that's really wanting to say something, I can give that opportunity. Yeah. Yes, Mary, go ahead.
Yeah, I'll keep it brief. Yeah, I'm not very good at expressing myself, but just the way Marxism's been working, like Susie was saying, through the schools and through the universities, their main philosophy is to break down the family. So a lot of what's happening in the schools and universities is actually against the nuclear family, against the family of man and woman. And so that whole concept of the family has been watered down to such a point that people don't understand the value of it. So I think, can you help me out here?
Yeah, basically they're always playing with terms, like they want to get rid of the terms mother and father now, and have guardians. They use words militarily to destruct society. They don't take the best of society and remove the worst. They take the best of society and remove it, and they expand the worst. So they completely screw everyone up, confuse everyone of all these different things in there. It's like death by 1,000 cuts, You wake up in the morning and it's another new attack on traditional civilization that has been proven true. And family is the cornerstone of it all, obviously. But they're killing the family. It's the best way to describe it is a Chinese expression. It says, death by 1,000 cuts. You know, we have to understand it.
Okay, thank you everyone, and thank you. I'll just share the screen and we can offer our unison prayer together. Okay, let's begin. Adieu, adieu, adieu. Thank you, everyone, and have a great day, and see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye bye, everyone. God bless.
Bye. Bye now.
Have a good day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye, Randall. Bye, Jacinta. Janine.
Bye now.